Albasan dai in za su biya 80 zan ɗauka. Albasan dai in za su biya 80 zan ɗauka. Gashi.
Okay, I can see many of new faces joining in today's class. So you are not with us. The first session which I took on last Monday. So again, welcome to all those new faces. And I would request if they are joining first time in this course, which is growth and philosophy of distance education, course code MDE 411. To come forward and introduce themselves. The people who are joining first time. Matthews was there, Usman was there. Sujao Muhammad, are you there in the first class which I took? Are you were present in the first class? First session which I took on Monday, last Monday? Okay, no problem. Then what I had discussed in the last session, that was related to understanding open and distance education. We have tried to discuss about what is the basic definition of distance education, and we also tried to discuss or try to understand what are the various features of distance education. We have discussed about various features like distance education gives a lot of flexibilities in terms of age, in terms of qualifications, openness with regard to place and time of study, flexibility in selection of courses, and credit accumulation and self-paced examination system. As a whole, we have discussed about the distance education system is so flexible that it allows any age group of learner to join in. If you are 18 plus, and you can join in and complete any of your distance education program. So there is no upper age limit to pursue or continue any distance education program. Therefore, we can see that you can find heterogeneous group of learners who are pursuing distance education program. They may be 40 years of age, they may be having 50 years of age, 60 years, 70 years, 90, 100 plus years. So this is distance education which have given chance to join in the educational system and pursue their academic or educational aspirations. So this is one of the flexibility what distance education has provided to us. Qualification. In distance education, there are various programs where we do not ask for any kind of pre-earned academic degree or academic qualifications for admission. Anyone, like in a graduate program, anyone having +2 degree can come in and join in. Master's degree program, any master programs, any graduate can come in and join in. Yes, there is some sort of limitations or some sort of restrictions, but only the pure professional or technical programs where some sort of specialization or some sort of specific skills are required. There you can find some sort of educational qualifications requirements. Otherwise, most of the distance education programs are open to all. then at any time, at any place, you can pursue your study. You can study and complete your program. There is no foundation that you are supposed to, and you have to come at a certain location to attend the classroom sessions and take the examination. You can live anywhere and you can join in any kind of academic program. This we had already discussed in detail. Just I'm giving just a brief look of all those issues what we have discussed. And then credit accumulation. If you are earning certain credit in a first semester, that is going to second semester. First year credit will be transferred to the second year, and ultimately, when you will come out with the completion of program, you will be having certain degree in your hands. So that has been earned through accumulation of credit, and moreover, self-paced examination. In distance education system, there is a flexibility given to students to appear in the examination as per their time and convenience. Therefore, at ITGNU, we conduct the examination twice in a year. First examination, terminal examination is conducted in the month of June, and second terminal examination is conducted in the month of December. If you miss June examination, you can appear in the December examination. A person who misses the December examination can appear in the next June examination. So here also a lot of flexibilities and choices are given to the students, and this is the one of the important feature of distance education. This we have already discussed. Then we also discussed about various definitions given by various people about distance education. In that context, we have discussed about what UNESCO has defined distance education. We have we also gave certain definition given by various distance education practitioners and thinkers. Then we also discuss about huh, features. Then okay, now we were last in the last class, after discussing the definitions of distance education and various features of distance education, we had reached uh, to the topic paradigm shift in distance education. Distance education is considered as a mode of education which is totally different from the classroom or conventional mode of education. How you can say that distance education is different from the face-to-face education? I would love to listen from any one of you, just in few points, how you can say that distance education is different from the conventional mode of education or face-to-face education. Nasoga would like to say a few words about this.
Because there is separation from the teacher and the student.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Moses.
Yes, sir. In my own understanding, I believe that distance education is different from face-to-face education in terms of the space, the time, and the flexibility. So, in this regard, distance education can take place in any place, or and it can take place at a convenient time between the organization and the learners. So, and then the flexibility. Distance education also, there is flexibility in distance education. So it's not conventional, it's not rigid in terms of space, in terms of place, and in terms of time as face-to-face education is. So there is flexibility in it.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Usman, please.
Yes, sir. But based on my understanding, distance education is a type of education which is taking place virtually.
Okay. Maurice Nasonga.
Thank you very much, sir. In my own understanding, I think distance education, there is no age limit. Whereas face-to-face, there is age limit, more especially like here in Zambia. For you to enter the University of Zambia, the minimum age is 16. There's also the maximum age. Now, where distance education is concerned, there is no age limit. Then in distance education, there is the study materials can be soft, or is it the print materials? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, nicely explained. About the learning materials, we shall discuss in the coming sessions how distance education learning materials are especially designed, which are totally different from the materials or textbooks which are provided by the face-to-face education system. That is another topic, very different topic, or very interesting topic, which shall be discussed separately. Yes, you truly said that yes, even in self-learning materials there is a different approach between face-to-face education and distance education system. Okay, uh, Matthews, anything else would you like to add into our discussion?
Yeah, actually, what I wanted to add has been explained by Mr. Morrison Song and it was Moses. Yeah, so there's a flexibility, as it has already been explained, flexibility, and again, it is cheap. Yeah, had it been that who were asked to go and attend the physical education in India, maybe we could have lost some money. But here we are sitting in some of us in our offices while attending to the classes. So I can
Okay,
say that distance education is cheap, so to say. Thank you.
okay, excellent. Even see, Matthews rightly said, suppose if you would have been admitted to a conventional mode of education where classroom attendance is very much mandatory, where it whether was it possible that you will be able to attending your counseling sessions while working? Was it possible in the face-to-face education? No.
No.
This is an exclusive feature of distance education, which allows us to pursue our academic goals, to keep learning, keep gaining the knowledge at whatever places you are, whether you are in office, whether you are at home, even while you are traveling. You can learn through using the mobile phone. If you are listening a recorded lecture, you are traveling in a train or bus or even driving a car, you can listen the lecture. These are the exclusive features of distance education. And here comes and how it has become possible to learn as per our own convenience. See, right now we are interacting with each other through Google Meet. This is online counseling which is happening using technology called Google Meet. So this is the technology which has made possible the two-way interaction. It has reduced the gap. We are interacting as we are present in a classroom setting, isn't it? So technology has played a greater role in reducing the gap between teacher and learner. So distance education has made more productive and more useful and not lesser than the classroom teaching and learning. So technology, integration of technology and use of technology has helped distance education in coming more closer to the learners and making the teaching and learning more effective. And this is the some sort of change which has happened in the recent years. And distance education has started to the technology in a very aggressive manner. So it has bring a very uh, big change in the educational transaction or teaching learning process, and which is totally different from what used to be happen in the face-to-face education. So here this is the some sort of shift which is called paradigm shift. That is the topic which I was going to discuss with you all. Okay, it is said that there has been a paradigm shift in distance education or educational system. Yes, there has been paradigm shift. Earlier, what used to happen, the learners were very much dependent on teachers. If teachers are present in the classroom, they used to learn, or they used to be attentive and answer the teachers' queries. Now learners are not dependent on teachers fully. They are dependent on self-study. They are learning on their own. Teachers are just facilitating their learning. Teachers are just helping them in resolving their queries. Teachers are just answering their some selective kind of questions. So learners have become independent. They are fully uh, concentrating on their self-study, building their understanding and knowledge, and getting the degree. And how this has been made possible through the use of media, through the use of technology, through the use of different kind of teaching and learning tools. So this is the some sort of big change in the educational system, which is called paradigm shift. The system what we are having is not present, I mean, few years back. So this has happened due to the paradigm shift in education, and in the and technology has made our technology has contributed significantly towards the paradigm shift in distance education. And as far as theory of this paradigm shift is concerned, who has given this theory? There was a great philosopher called Thomas Kuhns. The paradigm shift, philosophy of paradigm shift was given by him. And you must have a name of another thinker, Otto Peters. Otto Peters says that paradigm shift in education would mean that certain models or patterns no longer exist, as they have been substituted by new models and patterns which significantly differ from the old ones. See, the learning patterns and teaching learning practices which we have is totally different from the which used to be happen few years back. And this is called paradigm shift in education. So if a question is asked, what do you mean by paradigm shift in education or paradigm shift in distance education? These are the examples which you are supposed to write. What changes and how the changes have taken place in the educational sector, which was not present in older times. Now it is happening. So there is a shift from this stage to this stage. This is a paradigm shift. A practice which was existing earlier, that practice has no relevance today. Today, altogether new practices or new style of teaching learning has come up, and this is the paradigm shift. It is a shifting from one pattern to another, from older pattern to new pattern. So this is the whole all about paradigm shift in distance education. This is the another topic which okay. Now we shall come to the various nomenclatures which are associated with distance education. You must have heard independent study, home study, self-study, open and distance learning, distance education, online learning, digital education, correspondence education, external studies, continuing education, distance teaching, self-instruction, adult education, technology-based or mediated education, learner-centered education. So these are the nomenclatures which are associated with distance education. These are not the something which is very much different from the distance education. All these kind of educational system, although it is having different nomenclatures, but are ultimately part of distance education. And those and then why different nomenclatures if they are related to distance education? The answer is that all those nomenclatures have been given in a specific context. If I am saying distance education in India, it may be in Nigeria, you may say open education. In maybe some other country, it may be called external education or external studies. If I am saying continuing education, it may be some other countries, it may be called adult education. But ultimately, all these terminologies are related to distance education system. But due to certain circumstances and due to certain context, different context, nomenclature changes. Like, for example, correspondence education and distance education. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between correspondence and open and distance education? Anyone can come forward. What is the difference between correspondence education and distance education?
Hello, sir. Let me try.
Yeah, please, Maurice.
I think distance education came from correspondence education. In correspondence education, there was nothing like face-to-face counseling. The study materials were provided through postal offices. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Correspondence education, as Maurice said, this is the earliest form of distance education. Earliest form. This is the earliest form of distance education, where study materials used to be provided through postal services to the learners. And there was a very, lesser role of the media what we have today. Like today, we are having a face-to-face interaction through the use of media. This was not possible in the correspondence education. there was a very less possibilities of interaction between student and teacher. So the learners were fully dependent on the learning materials which used to be sent to the learners through postal services. So there was a very minimal kind of or chances of two-way interaction or two-way communication. It was almost one-way communication where learning materials are sent to learners, they read at their home and appear for the examination. But can we see that due to these differences, can we say that correspondence education is not part of distance education? Correspondence education is different, distance education is different? No, all are part and parcel of distance education. Yes, one is the less form of education, and another is a media based education, multimedia based education. Now online education, digital education. So the teaching and learning is happening as at a distance always. In the correspondence mode also there was some sort of distance between teacher and learner. In distance education scenario also, and even if we talk about online and digital education, there is a distance between teacher and learner. So distance is always there. Yes, technology is changing, media is changing, transactional style is changing, but there is always distance. Therefore, all these mode of education, whatever nomenclatures you give them, all are a part of the distance education system. So one terminology is learner-centered education. There is another terminology used for distance education is learner-centered education. How you can say that distance education is a learner-centered education? Yeah, I would love to listen from who is this best computer? Best computer. What is your name?
Yeah, my name is Anas.
Anas. Just tell me.
Yes, sir.
How or in what way distance education is a learner-centered education?
Yeah, it's a learner-centered education because it is self-paced. So you learn whenever you like and wherever you like. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else want to add to the Anas points?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthews.
All right. I think it's learner centered. Maybe in my understanding, the one who does much of the work is the student or the learner. So this one is unlike maybe lecture centered or teacher centered, where most of the work is done by you telling us what to do. But with distance education, it is us who are doing much of the work. Yeah, that's my understanding. Thing.
Okay. I will listen to one more and then I will summarize.
Yes, hello. In addition,
Yeah. Yeah.
hello.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
Ishako. Yeah, Ishako,
Alright.
please go ahead.
Yeah, it is called learner centers education because the curriculum was designed in such a way that all the preference was given to a learner. That is, the most important thing is the learner has to create a self-discipline. That is in contrast to conventional. The time the learner should be reading is left to him. You can make your timetable according to your own flexibility. That's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you. Mustafa. Mustafa. Unmute yourself. Unmute.
Oh,
Mustafa Mustakin. Mustafa
huh?
Mustakin. There are two Mustafas. One is Mustafa Mustakin and another is Al Mustafa Sulaiman. Mustafa Mustakin. Yeah, unmute and then speak. Okay, we are not able to have Mustakin. Okay, Mustafa Sulaiman. Mustafa Sulaiman, you can come. Go ahead.
You are muted, sir. You are muted, sir.
Moses Sunday, would like to say something? Moses
No,
Sunday.
I was just saying that your mic was muted.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, now I will explain how distance education and why distance education.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Zubedi.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask a question on the previous presentation you had. You were talking about correspondence, distance education, correspondence education, and online. Is it okay if someone thinks to say distance education is a broad terminology, and then correspondence, online, all those are methods of distance education? Is it wrong to think in that way?
No, no, no. It is right. Actually, distance education is a broader ambit. If you take a distance means what? There is a distance between teacher and learner. If any kind of distance is there, that is distance education. So in correspondence education, or whether it is a online education or digital education or external studies or continuing education, so there is always a scope of there is a distance between learner and teacher. Therefore, broadly it is said it is a distance education, part of distance education. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now I will explain why and how distance education is called learner-centered education. Suppose many of you have been part of a conventional mode of education. In that institution, how we or you used to learn. You used to attend the classes as per the schedule prepared or timetable prepared by the institution. You have to listen the lecture whatever teacher used to give in the classroom setting. If the lecture is fixed that you have to attend the lecture at 12 p.m. on a certain date, you got a message from the teacher and you have to go there to attend the classes. If there is a examination, you have to prepare the examination as per the instruction of the institution or date of the institution, because you will not be given another chance to appear in the examination. So on a particular date and time, you have to be there to attend the examination. Otherwise, you will be missing the, chance. You will not be given another chance. So you will not be able to complete your program. And in classroom teaching, you are forced to listen what the teacher teaches you. So your requirements or your preferences is not considered in a conventional mode of education. Conventional mode of education is less bothered about which profession you belong to, which kind of problems you face, what is your economic status, what are your family commitments. You have to learn and pursue your academic aspirations as per the institutional instruction, as per teacher's instruction. If teacher is saying okay, I will take the class today, you are supposed to appear and go to the class. If you do not attend the class, you will be marked as absent, and you will not be allowed in the sit in the terminal examination. Due to classroom is very much mandatory in the face-to-face education. So that is why that face-to-face education is called teacher-centric education. But in distance education, what is happening? A lot of freedom is given to the learners. The course materials, admission process, examination process, evaluation and assessment strategies, teaching learning strategies, media's component, all are developed as per the requirement of the learners. So before taking any kind of decision, the learners is always before us. We actually examine or analyze the learners, requirements of learners, what our learners want. So our whole teaching learning process, teaching learning strategies, learning materials, lectures, assignments, all those things will be as per the requirements of the learners. We are not going to enforce or force something on the learners. So due to all these things, all these facilities, flexibilities or autonomies, what we are providing to learners, due to these kind of characteristics, this kind of approaches, distance education is called learner-centered education centered, learner-centered education system, or learner-centric approach of education. So if we think broadly, you cannot find this kind of philosophies or practices in face-to-face education. Therefore, face-to-face education, we never say that as a learner-centric education. Rather, we say that face-to-face education is a teacher-centric education, because whole gamut of teaching learning is evolving around the teachers, not the students or students' requirement. Therefore, that system is a teacher-centric education, and our system, which is distance education system, is a learner-centric education. I hope now it is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now another term, nomenclature: open distance learning. Open distance learning. Now we also call distance education as a open distance learning, ODL. Yes, there is a again a reason behind it why we call open and distance learning. Distance learning or distance education, both are same, but another word has been added into it, that is open. So the distance education philosophers and thinkers say that distance education is a method of education, and openness is a philosophy. Openness is about philosophy. Distance education is a method, and if we add the open, that openness, which is a philosophy, becomes part of distance education, and together we can say it open distance education. Openness means what? Open means open for all. Openness actually reflect the flexibilities what we provide to learners. Openness means at any age anyone can in and join the program. Openness means at any place where as per your convenience you can pursue your academic program. Openness means learning at your own pace. If you cannot read 1 unit per day, even half unit you can read, someone can read lesser than that, but at your own pace, at or at your own speed, you shall be learning or reading the learning materials. So due to this kind of method and philosophy, both are added together, and we can say this is open distance education or open and distance learning. Okay, Habibu Abdullahi. Habibu, welcome. Habibu Abdullahi. Okay. Now coming to next flexible learning. Another terminology is flexible learning. How the system is called flexible? As we mentioned earlier, this is a learner-centered philosophy. We recognize diversity of learners, their learning styles, and learning needs. Whole of the curriculum of distance education is designed, as I mentioned, as per the requirements of the learners. We always try to accommodate learners from all kinds, maybe from some other country, maybe some from different communities, maybe from different culture. So all kind of learners will have to be accommodated. So distance education takes care of all those kind of learners, adopting a very flexible approach. Therefore, this nomenclature is also given to distance education. Online learning, we must virtual learning. Another terminology is given virtual learning. Virtual means what? There is a some sort of separation between teacher and learner. We are not meeting face to face, but we are meeting indirectly in an online environment. So online environment, online interaction, this is the virtual learning. Therefore, this nomenclature is also used that this is a virtual learning. Again, sometimes it is also called indirect learning, indirect education. Here also, since we are not meeting directly, we are not in the face-to-face mode, so our interaction is happening indirectly. The teachers and learners are interacting indirectly. Yes, sometimes they are face-to-face during the academic counseling sessions, but most of the time, the teachers and students meet indirectly through various media and instruction. like learning materials. What are the learning materials? Is designed by the teachers, are provided to learners. Learners go through those learning materials, and those learning materials are written in such a style that learners feel that yes, teacher is present before me. So that is also some sort of indirect kind of interaction between teaching and teacher and learner. Therefore, that is called indirect education or indirect learning. Acha, you must have heard about blended learning. What is that? Blended learning. Can anyone can forward and explain what is the blended learning?
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, Angela, please.
So what I understand as blended learning is it's both online and face to face.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
of course, we need to consider what we are using online if it is integrative and useful to the face to face sessions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That is simultaneous integration of both face to face and online teaching and learning. Blend, what is blend? Blend means mixing two or more things together. It is called what? Blending. So if we can say that in a present situation, distance education is happening through blended mode, will it be okay? Or can we say that blended mode of learning is a advanced form of distance education? Uh, will that be okay? That blended learning is a very advanced form of distance education or mode of distance education. Can we say that blended learning?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How? How? Najatu
Yes, sir.
Abdullah. Najatu, how you
Yes,
can
sir.
say that blended learning is the most advanced form of distance education?
I think blended learning is most advanced of distance education because it's a face-to-face learning virtually and it's also an online approach.
Okay. Ishaku Bukar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The blended learning is ahead of the distance learning because that one is institutional. Like for this, my prestigious university, that's IGNO, I learned that it is practicing blended learning. That is, it is giving face to face as well as distance education.
Mm.
So therefore, that university or the learning platform need to be more advanced and well equipped. That is in terms of manpower and technology. So you cannot
Okay.
compare it with just single uh, distance learning platform. That is
Okay. Anyone else want to add into this argument? Okay. Now would love to listen from Angela. Angela, can you how you can
Yes, sir.
justify how you can justify that distance education is really advanced form of blended learning is really advanced form of distance education?
So I tell you frankly, I was wondering, blended learning, is it really distance learning? Like, because for my part, I consider blended learning as face-to-face, like in class setting and online. So I was thinking about it, in fact. I don't know what's the answer, to tell you frankly, sir. But because for my understanding, blended is like in class, you meet the person physically, and online is like it could be via Google Meet, Zoom, or any LMS support system. So I don't know really what to answer right now.
Okay, now Sadatu has joined in. Sadatu would like to listen from you.
Sir.
Sadatu, not Najatu. We have another Sadatu, Abu Bakr, Osman. Sadatu, can you hear us? Can you hear me? No, I think she's not able to listen us. Najatu, now you can add your point. Najatu Abdullah.
Sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, like I said earlier, the blended learning, it's said to be face to face. Like for instance, we are using a virtual face to face communication through Google Meet. So it's an online approach. So as the distance learning, which we are also using an online approach to gain our knowledge through learning materials that have been distributed through the learner management system. So I think the blended learning is an advanced approach of the distance learning.
Okay, nicely explained. That is the point what I wanted to highlight. Actually, you cannot differentiate the blended learning, saying that this is not a part of the distance education. Yes, this is a part and parcel of distance education. What has happened? Advanced technologies have been added into it, and has been always the scope in the distance education system to adopt different media and technologies. That is why we are having the present kind of interaction. Although we are our teaching and learning happening through distance, but we are interacting same time online. So we all are involved in a distance education only. Yes, it is happening online, but this is not some sort of which is different from the distance education. This is part of the distance education, advanced form of distance education. So in coming days also new technologies will come, and that will be utilized in the distance education, or those technologies will be integrated with the distance education system. But distance education system will remain intact. So just imagine correspondence education, which was the earliest form of distance education, where teaching and learning used to be happen through postal services. Learning materials used to be sent through the postal services, and learners used to go through those learning materials at their home, and used to go at the examination center to appear in the examination. Yes, that was also distance education, but that was the earliest form of distance education. Distance education was in the very initial phase, where there was limited resources available. After that, what happened? Radio came up, television came up. So through radio and television, people started learning. And now what has happened? Now Web 2, Web 3 is coming, online system is coming up, different kind of education technologies like Zoom, like Google Meet, or like Microsoft Team, all those things are coming up. So these are all being added into the distance education system. And distance education system is becoming more dynamic and advanced day by day. So if you take these things, and again you can add some face-to-face elements into it, it becomes blended learning. So in distance education system, there is also a scope for the face-to-face interaction. Yes, there is a limited interaction. Students are given only Saturdays and Sundays they are supposed to visit at their study centers and meet their teachers. So only weekend, I take note there is a provision that at weekend learners will go to the study centers and meet their teachers, their academic counselors. So at the study centers there is a face-to-face kind of interaction. So if you add those first face-to-face and then online and then all those things, it becomes what? Blended learning, which is mixed of all. So we can say yes, blended learning is also some sort of or a distance education, but it is a fully advanced form of distance education based on face-to-face, online, digital, anything, whatever you can add into it, it becomes a blended learning. Okay, so that is why I said okay, there are various nomenclatures given to distance education system, and there are various reasons behind it, various justification why a particular
Excuse me, sir.
nomenclature or name is given to distance education. So never get
Excuse me,
confused
sir.
with the different nomenclatures. All are actually distance education, but certain nomenclatures given in a certain context and in certain circumstances with certain and proper justification. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Um, I have an observation from the study material.
Mm-hmm.
On I think my study material is not okay. I think on page 8 of the study material, under the objectives of the study, the fourth objective says differentiate. You will be able to differentiate face-to-face education and open and distance education. So it's more or less like it's being said that open and distance education is an opposite of face-to-face education. And here in this example of blended learning, we are having face-to-face education. And also just as how we are interacting now, we can also call it a face-to-face interaction, though we are at a distance. So I think will it still be justified to call distance learning an opposite of face-to-face education? So I think maybe the word face-to-face, since a face-to-face and the blended learning also incorporated face-to-face. So, and just as how we are at distance now and we're having a face-to-face interaction, so I think that face-to-face should not be face-to-face education should not be seen as an opposite of distance learning. Probably we can use the word conventional form of education rather than face-to-face form of education. I think that was the point Angela was trying to raise when you pointed the question at her. So
Okay.
we need clarification in that regard.
Yeah, Moses. Just take that as a conventional mode of education, conventional or traditional instruction. Don't take it as a face-to-face, because face-to-face is a very smaller term.
Yes, sir.
Actually, their writer tries to convey that is conventional mode of education, classroom education. So yes, as far as face-to-face is concerned, in distance education system also there is a provision for face-to-face education. What we are face-to-face interaction, what we are having, although it is happening virtually, but this is actually what is virtual face-to-face interaction. We can say it is virtual. We are not meeting physically. So yes, you cannot say it as a face-to-face, but virtual interaction is there. Moreover, face-to-face interaction is also happening at the study centers on Saturdays and Sundays. So there is a scope for face-to-face education, but there is a limited scope of face-to-face education in comparison to traditional mode of education. Traditional mode of education is fully dependent on face-to-face interaction. That is why that system is called face-to-face education. In
Well
open and
understood,
distance
sir.
education, yes, there is a face-to-face induction, but that is a very much limited kind of interaction. So since there is a more face-to-face interaction in the conventional mode of education, therefore that mode of education is also called face-to-face mode of education. But don't get confused. Just for your understanding and better understanding, take it as a conventional mode of education. Is it okay? Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, sir.
Okay. Now we will come to the next point. See, in India, we have three kinds of institutions. Now we have discussed about two kinds of system, which is conventional mode of education or face-to-face education and open and distance learning institutions. We have so far understand what is distance education, what kind of paradigm shift has happened in a distance education, why it is having different kind of definitions and nomenclatures, what are the various justifications behind that. Okay, so on that grounds and those perspective in India, we have three kinds of institutions. The universities and colleges which are set up in India are of three kinds. First is single mode of institutions. Single mode of institutions. Second is dual mode institutions. Single mode, dual mode institutions, and third category is of consortium. Consortium. I am writing in the chat box. These are the three kinds of institution. Single mode of institution, dual mode of and consortium. Now let us try to understand which kind of institution is called single mode institution, which kind of institution is called dual mode, and which one is called consortium. As it is reflected from the name, the single mode of institution or single mode of universities are those universities which offers only a distance education program, or even it may be face-to-face education program. Many of you are from Nigeria. Can anyone tell me the National Open University of Nigeria is a single mode institution or dual mode institution?
Yes, sir. The National Open University of Nigeria is only a single mode university.
Why?
Because they are not engaging in any face-to-face learning mode.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, Angela, you have to.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
wanted to add something.
Yeah.
For example, our institution at University of Mauritius was single mode before COVID, and
What is
now I think
what is the name of your
it was
institution?
only face to face, only face to face.
Name of the institution. Name.
University of Mauritius.
Which country?
Mauritius.
Okay. If that
So,
is, yeah, single mode. Yeah.
now during COVID, it started. It was online, and now it's blended. Now it's blended.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very tricky situation where to put that is dual mode. Actually, that will be called single mode institution only, because
Okay.
it has changed its strategies, but the whole vision,
Mm-hmm.
whole vision of the institution will remain the same. So there is no change
Okay.
in the change in the acts and statutes and regulations of the institution. So yes,
Yeah.
they may be adopting different strategies, teaching, learning practices as per
Mm-hmm.
the learner's convenience, but that university, the status of university will remain the same. That will be
Okay.
considered as a single mode of institution. Okay.
Okay, sir.
If
Yeah.
your
Thank
university,
you.
yeah, if your university or institution start
Mm-hmm.
offering the programs through distance mode in a formal way,
Yeah.
with having certain recognition from the regulatory bodies, then
Hmm?
that institution will become a dual mode institution.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. I understand now better. Yeah.
Yeah. Suppose I will give you an example of India. Okay. I have given one example of Nigeria, where I mentioned about National Open University of Nigeria. That is a single mode institution, because that university offers only distance education programs. There is no face-to-face programs. So that is a single mode of university. Again, if any university, even if it, like in your case, that is a face-to-face university. That university is
Yes.
allowed to offer only face-to-face program, although it is offering the program through blended mode. But the
Mm-hmm.
recognition of that institution is only for the face-to-face education. So that is a single mode institution, whether it is in the face-to-face or in the distance mode. If you are offering academic programs in a single mode delivery mode, that is a single mode institution.
Okay.
If any institution offering the program through face to face as well as distance mode, that university will be called dual mode university or institution. Here I will give an example of Delhi University, University of Delhi. University of Delhi offers its academic programs through face-to-face mode and through distance mode also. For face-to-face, it has well-established campus, and for the distance education mode, it has set up a school that is called SOL, School of Open Learning. School of Open Learning. Through that school, University of Delhi offers distance education programs for the distance learners. And through the main campus, it offers the face-to-face programs. So in that sense, we can say since the university is offering their academic programs through two different modes, that institution or university is a dual mode university. There may be some other university in Nigeria or some other countries which may be offering or may be operating in a dual mode. I will ask from you people, in your respective country, can you find or will you able to find a dual mode institution? Just give me an example. Anyone can give example
Yes,
from, yeah.
in Nigeria, we have University of Maiduguri and Ahmadu Bello University area. They are dual mode because
Okay.
they are also educating in both conventional and distance education.
Okay.
And they are
Nice
flexible.
example. Nice example. Some other country beside Nigeria?
Zambia.
Yeah, Zambia. Which institution is institution which is offer or operates in dual?
University of Zambia.
Okay.
We offer some programs on full-time basis, like medicine. You have to be there in contact with the lecturers. Then there are some courses like education. They are put on distance mode. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I hope that understanding or definition of single mode institution. And yeah,
Just a quick question.
yeah, Habibu Abdullah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have questions.
Yeah, please.
So my question is regarding the what you just said about dual mode institution.
Hmm.
In Nigeria, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria is offering distance education and face-to-face. But the kind of distance education, I don't know what we are going to call it. Is this dual or blended learning? Because the lectures are going online, but the examination is going through face-to-face written in the classroom during the examination, but assignment and the lectures are all online. That's my question, sir.
Okay. In that scenario, if there is event that is going on it online mode, if
Yes,
there are
sir. The lecture is fully online.
no, that is not different from distance. That is part of the distance education. So you cannot call
Okay.
this system as a face-to-face education, because those are the part of the distance education. So teaching and learning is happening at a distance. Therefore, that will remain the characteristics of distance education. That is actually distance education. Name whatever you can give them, but all those are the uh, features of distance education only. Whether it is online, blended, whatsoever you can call them, but those are the yeah part of distance education.
Okay. But the examination is taking place in the classroom. That's
Yeah,
through
yeah.
contact.
See, here also, ignore what is happening. Teaching and learning happens through distance mode, but examination is always conducted in a face-to-face mode. A different
Okay,
examination.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
So examination.
Sorry,
See,
earlier
examination.
I have been.
Habibu, examination
Yes,
is
sir.
something like that which cannot be conducted in a distance mode. So
Okay.
it will be very difficult to control the students which if they are appearing examination through distance mode or giving the examination of sitting at their home. It is very tough to control them. You cannot ensure the fairness, or I mean free and fair examinations. So that is why examination will have to be conducted in a face-to-face mode, so that examinations are monitored and it is proctored properly and fairness is ensured.
Understand. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now I will come
Yes.
to yeah.
A question.
Yeah, Kamanga.
Yeah, sorry to take you back. When the issue of blended learning came up and the issue of online, when you're talking of online and then the distance learning where it has evolved from the actual hard copies where others would go to the center and correct and study at home and then come back, and now the content is online. I am of the opinion, or looking at the point where you're looking at an online content which is active or more of passive, where you have recorded videos, which would probably be passive content where there is no interaction, and then there are live videos where there is an interaction, and maybe the idea of online where there is the feedback is delayed because it's just content and the student interacts with the content, and then there is an active content where you are interacting, for example, a live session where there is a video, and now, for example, as we are talking now, we are asking you questions and you are responding, which is more of face-to-face, however, it is online. So is it okay if we categorize the contents, whether they are passive or active? Because all of them are falling on the category of distance learning, online learning. Yeah, that was my question.
Okay. See, content, the purpose of the content should be understand. What is the purpose of those content? Whether it is active or passive, So there is a advantages with both kinds of content, whether it is active or passive. Suppose I am giving live sessions, but many of your colleagues or our participants or our learners will not be having time to interact with me during 3 to 5, whatever time of academic counseling we fix, or any kind of live interactions what we organize. So those can join in. Yes, they will be in advantage position. They shall be interacting in a more, beneficial way. But some people may be among us who have not joined today. They might be having some sort of their own commitments, their own engagements. They cannot spare their valuable time. So they will be not able to join in interactive sessions or active sessions. So they will be fully dependent on a passive kind of interaction, which shall be available to them in the form of recorded lecture. So recorded lectures are those people who could not get time to interact in a live situation. Later on, they can play those videos or audios and can listen or can watch. So the passive lectures are actually beneficial for those kind of learners. And live interaction are obviously beneficial for you all who have joined in the session. So both, whether it is active or passive, it has its own role in a distance education system, because distance education system is a system which is meant for all kind of learners. Some may be slow learners, some may be fast learners, some may be working in a shop, some may be working in office, some may be engaged in their housework, some may be at their workplace. So to address those kind of diverse learners, different kind of strategies and methods are adopted. So we provide the learning materials in a print form. We also provide learning materials in the digital form. Some person may be comfortable in going through the digital copies because they will read on their computers and laptops and their mobile phones. Some traditional learners may not be comfortable in using the digital formats, so they want the printed form, printed learning materials. So we provide them the printed materials. So each and every aspects of distance education has its own advantages and disadvantages. So take a system as a whole and then analyze the situation holistically. Then we shall get some sort of clear and justified kind of understanding about distance education. Okay. Now I will come to the third kind of institution. First we discussed about single mode of institution. Then we discussed about dual mode of institution. Now I shall come the third kind of institution, which is called consortium. What is consortium? It is some sort of arrangement. In consortium, what happens? Yeah, Maurice, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to try to answer the question that they posed. Consortium.
Yeah, consortium.
A group of institutions may be coming together offering specific programs.
Yes. And there are certain kind of agreement among them, certain kind of arrangements and understanding among them to run certain academic programs under certain terms and conditions. Okay. It's not necessary that is open learning or distance education or face to face, any kind of educational programs they can offer. But various kind of organizations, even sometimes private organizations, are engaged or enter into some sort of collaboration and cooperation to offer certain academic programs. So those kind of setup is called, or arrangement is called, consortium. then single mode of institution, dual mode of institution, and consortium. Okay. Like for example, and different works are divided among those partner institutions or institutions which are coming for the consortium or which are the part of the consortium. Suppose I want to offer an academic program in a distance mode. I have certain limitations. I can admit the students, I can advertise, and I can admit the students, but I am not able to conduct the examination. What I shall do, I will invite some other institution. Okay, I will take the admission, you conduct the examination. A third organization will be invited or will join in to prepare the learning materials. Some organizations will join in, okay, I will provide the support services. So all those institutions will contribute and will join hands, will come together, work together, and ultimately that will make a consortium. Okay. Okay. Now let me explain the conceptual difference between face-to-face education and distance education. Although we have discussed about it today and in the previous class as well, but there are certain conceptual difference which we must understand that exists between face-to-face education and distance education. In face-to-face education, as I said, it is a teacher-centered education where teacher is dominant. In distance education system, who is dominant? Anyone?
Yes, the learner.
In yes, learner. Because in distance education system, we always focus on learner. Our prime focus is on fulfilling the requirements of learner. So this is the first conceptual difference between face-to-face education and open and distance learning institution. Okay. In face-to-face education, education is for all, for limited people. Because suppose if you want to get admission in the University of Mauritius, Angela, what is the name of your institution?
University of Mauritius, sir.
Is that university runs any professional degree program at master's level?
I'm not sure. Have to look on the website, sir.
Acha. Then which department you look after?
English.
English. What is the intake of, do you offer master's program in English?
Yes.
What is the number of seats in the master's program?
I think around 20.
Okay, 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone from University of anyone from University of Nigeria? Faculty member? Any faculty member from University of Nigeria? Yeah, Anas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you tell me what is the number of students? How many students are allowed to take admission in master's degree program in English?
So honestly speaking, precisely I cannot tell you the number because we have branches we have number of universities in Nigeria, so I cannot precisely categorically tell you a particular university. The number of students.
Actually, no. Usman, I just wanted to know the strength of An open university in master's level program in English, how many students they enroll and they allow to get admission?
So I guess I didn't know that precisely.
Okay.
I think because you know the Nigerian population is a little bit larger, so
Can you give me a fair idea about numbers? How many students are allowed to take admission in MA in English at National Open University of Nigeria?
there may be a difference between the central university and the state universities. Yes, sir. So even though, sir, as for now, I don't have the actual numbers, but Nigeria is a little bit larger. There may be about 500.
About 500. See, just compare. Angela was mentioning about 20 students.
For face-to-face program.
Yeah, face-to-face program.
And Mauritius is a very small island, sir. There is like only around 1 million population. So
even
not many people would choose English anyway. You have more people of a master's program like economics, management, stuff like that. I guess they have more. The intake is more. I guess so.
Even that 1 million is population over there. But even for that 1 million, 20 number is very less, I think. If you compare that 20 with the National Open University of Nigeria, which is approx 500, although at IGNOU we don't have, limitations. At IGNOU, there is no restrictions in Masters of Arts in English. So almost every session there is a very big enrollment in MA in English program. But if you go to the Delhi University main campus, which face-to-face for the face-to-face admission, various colleges which are associated with University of Delhi, they have limited numbers for the master's degree program. In some colleges you shall find 30, in some 40, 35. So if we compare those seats with the distance education institution seats, so plenty of scope are available in the distance education system for the admission. So that is why it is said that in a face-to-face education, education is restricted to few. Face-to-face education is restricted, limited to few, but in distance education system, it is open for all. So this is some sort of conceptual difference between face-to-face education and open and distance learning system. Rigidity. If you go for the admission in MA in English at Mauritius, in Angela Institution, they will ask you, okay, are you graduate in English? Then you shall be allowed to take admission in MA in English. If you are having a graduate, if you are MCom or MSc, BCom or BA General, so they won't allow you. So similarly, there are various institutions which require graduate degree in a certain specific discipline for providing or allowing admission into a particular program. But in distance education system, even if you are a simple graduate and if you want to pursue MA in English, you are allowed to take the admission. So there is no rigidity or less rigidity in distance education system in terms of age, in terms of qualification, okay, and most importantly, physical presence. Angela will not allow you to bunk your classes. She will always ask her students, do you have to be present in the classroom, and 75% attendance is mandatory. If you fail to get the 75% attendance, we shall not allow you to take the terminal examination. But in distance education system, what happens? Attendance is not mandatory. Classes is not mandatory. We do not ask for students to have 75% attendance. Your physical presence in the classroom is not required or not mandatory. So these are the some sort of differences between face-to-face and ODL system, open distance learning system. So less rigidity, more flexibility. Okay. Now cost. Cost is very much important. Achha, there are two terminologies. One is cost effective and one is cheap. Distance education is cost effective or cheap?
Cost effective, sir.
Cost effective. Yes, of course. So if you try to get admission in a professional degree program in a face-to-face examination like management, like accountancy, like teacher education programs, and so on, the fees of those institutions are very high. Sometimes uh, many of learners cannot or could not afford to pay the hectic or hefty amount as a education fee or a tuition fee. So ultimately, what happens? They drop out. They do not go for the admission. They take in the another program. But in distance education system, that is very cost effective mechanism to educate the people at a very affordable cost. If you compare our university's program, IGNOU's master's level program or bachelor level program, with data programs which are being offered by other conventional universities like Jamia Millia Islamia, like University of Delhi, or like Jawaharlal Nehru University, the cost is very less. Very less fees are charged from the students. And why this has been possible? Because the philosophy of distance education. So learners are big in numbers. So the per cost expenditure of any educational program is very low, less in comparison to face education. Therefore, our admission fees or other um, program fee is very less in comparison to face education. So this is another feature of distance education, which makes it more attractive and more, learners friendly. Okay. In face-to-face education, learning is a one-time activity. Suppose if you are admitted in a graduate program, in India, graduate program is of for 3 years. I think in maximum countries it is maybe of 3 years program, graduate. So if you are taking admission in a face-to-face education system, you are allowed given 3 years. Within 3 years, you are supposed to complete the program. If you are not able to complete the program in 3 years, you shall not be given any kind of degree, because you have completed your tenure, whatever was given for the completion of a program that was 3 years. You have completed 3 years gone. If you have cleared all the examination, then you shall be provided a degree. If you have not appeared in the examination, your time is over. You will not allowed to sit in the examination after the 3 years. But distance education system, what is happening? Again, I will give you example of IGNOU or at National Open University of Nigeria. It may be also practice that in graduate programs we give 6 years, 3 plus 3 years. If you are not able to complete your program 3 years, you can take re-admission or re-registration and complete the program. Suppose there were 10 papers or 12 papers in 3 years. When your session completed, you had appeared in the 10 papers, and all those 10 papers were cleared. Only 2 papers were left, but your tenure ended. What you shall do? You shall take the readmission in the 4th year and complete the 2 papers, remaining 2 papers. And by that way, your papers will be done and you can get the degree. If you are not able to complete in the 4th year, 5th year you can complete, 6th year you can complete. So 3 years extra is given to you for the completion of your program, which is not possible in the face-to-face education. Okay, now I shall stop here and will love to answer your queries or any observations about what we have discussed today. And even
Sir,
we can,
I have a query.
yeah.
Which unit shall we cover next week?
Unit number 2.
Okay.
Unit 2, block 1.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you, sir.
What I would advise you people to don't be fully dependent on the lectures or interaction what we are having, because we have very limited number of interaction with you all. So during the lecture, what we shall try to do, we'll try to cover the major topics